and welcome back to Propulsion Lab at Devoxx France 2024. Day 3 coming live from you here from Paris. Day 3. Day 3 is a lot. It's a long conference. And my next guest is Tim from Modern, which is a company behind an amazing open source project called openRewrite.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yeah, perfect.
Dear friends, you might know if you follow Gradle or developer productivity engineering topic, if you ever been to one of our DP summits. By the way, early bird tickets are now for sale for the summit in San Francisco in September, or to one of our DP tour locations, which is everywhere across the world, coming near you, probably kind of sort of near. So we have still in the US, we have Boston, we have Washington, DC, and then we have in Europe, in London, in Paris. So any of those, what I want to say, it's a very long way to say. If you come to any of those or watch videos from any of those, you will see a lot of content from our friends from Modern, namely John Snyder, who is the CEO, and Olga, I unfortunately forget her last name. Kunzik, right, exactly. And she's a co-founder with John. And today we have one more person from Modern, Tim, and you are?
I'm officially a staff software engineer, but I head our open source community and a lot of community outreach and conferences and things like that.
And so that's a fellow DevRel professional, we can say, right?
Yeah.
Well, small startup, everybody doing everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it works. And it's great to meet you, Tim. And for those who are not familiar, I don't believe there are, but maybe one or two. Tell us a little bit about the openRewrite project and what Modern does with it.
Yeah, sure. So openRewrite is a framework to automate code changes. So if you have a project and you want to maybe maintain it over time, you're probably going to have to do some changes like upgrading a library, upgrading a framework. Maybe you want to every month update your Gradle wrappers or your GitHub action workflows. And all of that we can automate for you. I used to do this manually for a couple of years as a consultant, and every time you walk into the door somewhere, there's a lot of old stuff out there, and you want to upgrade that, you want to maintain that, but your manager wants you to work on features. So what we have done with openRewrite is to give you a framework and a large open source community behind it that helps automate such code changes such that you can do those quickly and get back to the feature work you want to do.
And I think not less important than automate is actually share the knowledge of how to upgrade. There's always something that comes up during upgrades, and if you don't have the wisdom of the community who already did that, you are going to encounter it and battle it by yourself and waste time and what's not. One of the nice things that openRewrite does, it codifies the knowledge about how to upgrade certain frameworks or tools or what's not.
Yes, absolutely. So normally that kind of knowledge is in the release notes, it's on a wiki somewhere, but not everyone has the time to read 30 pages of wiki docs that cross-reference each other and keep all of that in mind as you upgrade your service. And you probably don't just have one service, you have a couple dozen or maybe even more than that. And really you want to apply all those changes automatically such that you don't miss a step, so you can confidently go to production and know that every property has been renamed, every code change that has to be done has been applied.
For me, openRewrite is one of those libraries that you're like, how did we live without it? Because it's so stupid to do it by hand, to make those mistakes, to encounter the same problems that everybody else already encountered and solved. And you are just doing it all over again. It doesn't make any sense.
No, absolutely. And especially with like microservices, you're done maybe with one service and then you have another 30 to go. You don't want to do this by hand anymore.
Yeah, and so basically what you're saying is, if I now need to upgrade my Spring Boot, and everybody in the world already did it, then I can do it in such a high degree of confidence because of those two aspects, because there is a lot of experience and community knowledge baked into this recipe, and because I know that it's automated step by step, so there is no room for manual errors that I will probably do if I just follow some blog post that I found online on how to upgrade.
Yep. And it's very hard to miss a step when you automate it, because if you do it by hand, at some point you're going to lose focus. If you're going to do upgrades for 2 months in a row, you're going to absolutely miss things, or you maybe skip steps that are optional. But with these automations, even if you've done them by hand in the past in migrations, you can still run an automation and get anything that you might have missed that would have been optional, and we'll still apply those changes. So
This is cool. And what Modern is doing as a company?
So what Modern does is we are the maintainers of openRewrite, together with the wider open source community. And on top of that, we build tools to help corporations run those same migration scripts at large. So if you have a couple dozen, a couple hundred, or even a couple thousand services that you need to be maintaining in this way on a regular basis, we can help you there. And that's what we built with the Modern platform, which we also offer for free to open source projects, where you can go there, you can select the recipes that you already know or maybe even contributed to, and run those at scale across a large organization.
Yeah, that makes sense. That you bring the scale for whoever need it, and everybody else can go and use it for free. I wanted to ask you another question. So, what size of library are we talking about? How many? What are the chances that the libraries that I need we will find in openRewrite catalog?
So, the open source community, of course, is large, and we started initially in the Java space. So we have a lot of coverage for well-known libraries and frameworks in there, and that in part is due to our community, but also our collaborations with other companies. So when we say we have support for Spring, that is built in part with the folks at Broadcom that help maintain those recipes and develop new recipes as they develop new versions of Spring. And the same goes for Micronaut, where we have a collaboration with Oracle, and we have it for Quarkus with the folks from Red Hat. And those are just the 3 main frameworks in the Java world. And beyond that, if you need to upgrade JUnit, or you want to switch to AssertJ away from Handpressed, or you want to upgrade any logging frameworks, testing frameworks, all of that is already covered by the wider community. So there's a really good chance that if you use something that is not very niche, that we can help you out there.
And just in terms of numbers, what are we talking about?
So we have some 2,400 individual recipes.
Yep.
To do automated code changes across the entire.
This is amazing. So yeah, no, the chances are what you are trying to upgrade is there. And yeah, my other question was where the knowledge comes from, right? So you mentioned that for majority of them, some of them, the contributors themselves, when they do a release, part of their release package or release bundle will be a new recipe for openRewrite to migrate from previous versions. But I guess a lot of that is just crowd wisdom. Mm-hmm. So how does that work?
So with openRewrite, we have an open community that anyone can contribute to. And we have a lot of documentation to help folks get started with recipe development. So I came here to Devoxx France to give a workshop and a Meet the Open Source project session later yesterday, where folks can learn how to write their own recipes. And that way, anyone who knows the project and knows the type of migrations that they have to do a lot of can come to us, can contribute, and can open a pull request. And that way we can grow all the automations that no one then after that has to do manually anymore.
Yeah, no, that's impressive. I believe the testing should be very interesting aspect, mm-hmm. Right? I would guess that you have a way to test those automations and verify that migrations are working. How do you do that?
Yeah, so absolutely. And every time that we write a recipe, the first thing we do is we write a test. And that test can take a text block as input. where you just codify either the Java class or the POM file or the build Gradle file, whatever you want a recipe to apply to. And then it takes a second text block where you assert that after running the recipe, I want it to look like this. And that can include any changes, formatting styles, comments, anything that you want to change in there. You can assert that it actually gets changed. And from there, we start building the recipe. And that can be either using common building blocks that we already have and you can configure, or you can write a custom recipe that does a more advanced code change. And with those unit tests, we can be sure that every time we make a code change, it makes the exact change that we want, and only in the cases that we want.
Yeah, that's very cool and very, very useful. And if for some reason you still don't use openRewrite, you really should. And check it out at openrewrite.org, I guess. Here you go. And obviously, if you need, start with that and then see if you need it a larger scale, if you need your large organizational like bits and pieces, then obviously modern is the place to go. With that, Tim, thank you very much.
Yes,
it was a pleasure. And you all stay tuned for more episodes of the Build Propulsion Lab here today at Devoxx France. And we'll see you just after that.